Hello, America. Good evening, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Professor Toto, and this is not my normal class. I'm popping in because news is popping. Today was a big, big, big news day, yesterday and today, and I couldn't let you go to sleep without explaining some of this news to you. Um, the story I really want to explain to you tonight is Trump's healthcare genius, his brilliance, called TRUMPCARE. That's my real reason for getting on here tonight. I've got a feeling many of you don't understand the brilliance of his plan. Nobody saw it coming. But hello, Elder Vicky Baker. So we're going to talk about TRUMPCARE tonight. I'm going to break it down for you because you need to know what Donald Trump's doing for health care. Good evening, Denise Whitaker. So we're going to talk about TRUMPCARE. That's my main story tonight. But there was something that happened today that is so beyond amazing that we're going to break it down for you. And it has to do with fentanyl. What a victory we've had today. Lisa Lynn, Jim Emmerich, hello. What a victory we've had today in America. The mainstream media is hardly mentioning this this breakthrough. Good evening, Elder Marin. So we're going to talk about all of that tonight. So get ready to learn. But before we can talk about the great stories, here we are once again having to talk about the stupid story of the day, which, when all else is failing, drag out that dead ghost Epstein. Let's talk about it. Let me clear it up. It is big news because the Democrats think they have found something. It's the oldest trick in Washington, my fellow Americans. Hit that share button right now, would you? Let folks know that Toto's talking. It's distraction theater is what you've witnessed today. Here we are, November 2025. What's happening in Donald Trump's America, I'll tell you. Inflation crushed. The border is secure. The economy is beginning to roar. Foreign policy wins are stacking up like cordwood. Trump is delivering victory after victory after victory. The American people are winning and the Democrats are panicking. So what do the Democrats do when Trump's success becomes undeniable? They simply resurrect their favorite dead man, Jeffrey Epstein, of course. Now, I want you to pay close attention to the timing here because timing is everything in politics. Today, on Wednesday, the Democrats released three, now, not all of the documents, three of the email exchanges that they found. Now, they didn't release it last month or even next month, but precisely when Donald Trump is delivering historic wins today, when his policies are wildly successful, when the American people are seeing real results, and when Democrats have nothing to run on except recycled scandals from a dead pedophile. Nothing distracts quite like a pedophile. So here's what they released on the day when our government is reopening to totally distract from their nonsense of the last 40 days. What do we do on a day like today? We make the American people forget the folly of our last 40 days. Oh, yes, we do. And we go drag poor old Jeffrey out of the coat closet. So, my job tonight is to educate you. I'm educating you, those that are just joining me, on 3 subjects tonight. Sadly, I've got to deal with the stupid one first, all right? So, here's the big revelation. 3 emails between a convicted sex trafficker, Ghislaine Maxwell, a pathological liar, that would be Jeffrey Epstein, and they're claiming that Donald Trump knew about the girls. That's what the email says. And that Donald Trump spent time at his house. There's one little problem with this new revelation, okay? Let me read to you something the Democrats tried to hide today. When they released it, they redacted the name and they put victim. Now that's interesting. So they redact this email. I wish I could show it to you, but I don't know how to do it on Facebook Live. I'm not using my regular restream, but I'm looking at it. It's an email. And I'm looking at the release where it's talking about a victim that Donald Trump spent time with the victim at Epstein's house. Now, why did they redact the name and put victim? I'll tell you why. Because the victim's name is Virginia Giuffre. And Virginia went to court in 2016 under oath, November the 14th, and answered the following question. Have you ever been in Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein's presence with one another? Her answer under oath, no. Let me repeat that for the folks in the back. She said no. She was then asked what basis she had for calling Trump and Epstein good friends. And she answered and said, Jeffrey told me that Donald Trump is a good friend of his. That's it. That's the evidence. A dead criminal's claim in a text or an email versus a sworn affidavit testimony given under oath in a court of law. So this so-called new evidence is no evidence at all. The victim has already testified. So here's what I want to do tonight. I want to give you a timeline of Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. Remember, when in doubt, always go back to the timeline. Always. Okay? Because timelines don't lie. Politicians do. So let's go through the timeline. 1992 to 2002. What is that? 10 years? All right. In that 10 years, Jeffrey Epstein, no one knew what he was. All right? 92. Long time ago. Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein knew one another in those 10 years the same way every other wealthy person in Palm Beach knew every other wealthy person. It's a small club. Epstein was in the club. Trump was in the club. Clinton was in the club. All rich people are in that club. However, during those 10 years, there was no trips, no parties with minors, no accusations, no suspicious behavior, nothing that connected Trump to Epstein at all. Now that's important. That's important, folks, because they want you to think that knowing someone equals participating in their crimes. By that logic, everyone that knew Ted Bundy is a serial killer. It's insanity. Of course they knew one another. And of course, Trump had been to his house, not Pedo Island, but the Palm Beach house. All right. Now, let's fast forward to the year 2007. What happens? I'll tell you what happens. It's the moment that obliterates the Democrat narrative, because that's the moment when Donald Trump stood on his moral authority and banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago. Now, I want you to just wrap your brain around what I just said, all right? If you have known someone from 92 to 2002, and y'all been engaged in little girly, whirly things, and doing situations and confrontations and stipulations and under the blankets wations, all that. And y'all been doing that, okay? And the man, Epstein, is at your club. He's a member. And the man simply hits on one of your workers, a girl. That's all he did, according to the Miami Herald and the Wall Street Journal and the investigative book called The Grifters Club, and former Mar-a-Lago management and people that were members at that time. They said all Epstein did was hit on a member's underage daughter. Okay? Now, do you know what Donald Trump did the moment he found out that Epstein hit on a minor? He banned him from his club. That is, and in that world, that is public humiliation 101. Now, if y'all been doing stuff you ain't supposed to be doing, you ain't gonna ban the man because you know he's got the goods on you. You're not going to publicly humiliate him if y'all got, it's called mutually assured destruction. If we've been doing all this, I'm not going to ban you. And then you, come on, people. Now, notice who banned Epstein. It was Donald Trump. It wasn't Bill Clinton. Dershowitz never banned him. Hollywood never banned him. Academia never banned him. The royal family never banned him. Only Donald Trump. Know that because you just heard the truth, baby. Now, let's fast forward after 2007. That was the year of the ban. So if you're doing your little timeline on 2007, that's the ban man. All right. Now, let's go 1 year further. In 2008 is when Epstein begins to be found out about. Not before then, not in 92, 2002, 2007. It wasn't until 2008 that Epstein began to commit the crimes at Pedo Island and things of that nature. By that time, Trump has already banned the man and ended their relationship. Trump never visited his island, ever. He never visited his New York townhouse. He never went on the airplane. He never appeared in the Black Book. He never appeared on the itinerary. No victim of Epstein ever mentioned Donald Trump, not once. And the Democrats had all of this information under the Biden presidency. Nobody mentions it. There was a decade when Epstein was at his worst, and him and Trump were not even friends at that time. Donald Trump was clean as a whistle. Now let's fast forward to 2019. Epstein was arrested. The FBI journalist flight log analysis. Hundreds of victims were interviewed at that time. Subpoenas were issued. And what was the conclusion? Trump wasn't tied to anything. Zero connections, zero accusations, zero investigations into Donald Trump. Not even a whiff, my friend. Now let's fast forward to 2020 through 2024. Every adult survivor that came forward in these last 4 years, how many of them brought up Donald Trump's name? Not one. Every document that was released, not one tied Trump to a location or an event. Every flight log, not one showed Donald Trump aborted. Every interview, no one even suggested that Trump was involved. Virginia Guthrie said Trump was the most perfect gentleman she'd ever met. He was the cleanest, high-profile name in the entire Epstein orbit. So, let's talk about what the emails actually revealed today, okay? In the email in 2015 between Epstein and Michael Wolff, they were discussing how Epstein could weaponize Donald Trump's denials for public relations. Epstein and a Trump critic, Michael Wolff is a Trump critic, strategizing how to destroy Donald Trump's presidential campaign. Folks, when these emails was written, they were looking for a way to destroy. Now, the question you might ask is, why would Epstein want to destroy Donald Trump? That's simple, my friend. You go back to the ban, man. You go back to 2007 when he was publicly humiliated by the man now running for president. The story is as old as time itself, how to blackmail a presidential candidate. It's called manipulation. Now, in the 2019 email, Epstein claims that Trump knew about the girls. And that's probably why you got banned, sucker. Epstein is covering for himself and trying to use the election of Donald Trump to cover his own self. So you got to decide. Listen, if these Democrats wanted true transparency, they would release all the documents, not 3 emails. They're not going to do that because all of their allies, their donors, their power brokers are all mixed up in it. So anyway, all right. I'm done with that story. I hate I even had to talk about it because it's a boring story. Good evening, Renee Riddle. Good evening, Regina Ford Payton. Good evening, Lori Myers Hallett. Hello, Becky Shelton Keith. Ginger Patton. Nancy Brogdon, good evening. Scott Hayes. Good evening, Ricky Denny. Lori Myers. Good evening, Anna Urbrock. Now I want to talk about something that's actually wonderful, Lori Sorensen. Hello, Melissa Gatlin. Dear Melissa. Hello, Susie Nelson. All right, let's do this. Actually, that's probably Corey watching me, not Melissa. Hey, cuz. Now, let's talk about fentanyl. What an amazing story I'm fixing to give you. I've got people that are friends of mine. I have one lady, her name is Stormy, and she's lost one child, I think 2 children, to fentanyl, okay? So while the Democrats today were digging through old emails, trying to manufacture a scandal, Donald Trump's FBI director walked into the White House briefing room and made an announcement that every grieving mother, every broken family, every border agent, every sheriff, every EMT has been praying for decades. It was answered today. Of course, they want to talk about Epstein. Let's talk about a real story, shall we? Cash Patel announced today that Donald Trump has destroyed the fentanyl pipeline. It has been severed. Let that settle in for just a moment tonight, okay? After decades of funerals, after 100,000 American children have died. Think about that. After cartel empires grew fat on American dead children. After China played both sides of the table, after the political class issued condolences instead of solutions, tonight, November the 12th, 2025, that pipeline is shut down. It's over. Hoorah, America. Talking about a real president. There was the announcement today that shook the world. Director Patel said these words, and I quote unto you, effective immediately, President Trump has shut off the pipeline that creates fentanyl, the poison that has destroyed a generation. Not a 5-year implementation window. No. As of hoy in Spanish, hoy, today, effective immediately. Beautiful words, Cash. Then came the knockout punch from Mr. Patel, and I quote unto you, these substances are now banned. They will no longer be utilized by Mexican drug trafficking organizations or any others around the world to make the drug. See, here's the thing about fentanyl. You have to make it. It doesn't grow out of the ground like poppy and weed. You have to create it. Well, to create it, you need certain chemicals. And those chemicals have been provided all these years by China. You see, it's not the Mexican cartels that makes it. China sends it to Mexico. If you want to destroy fentanyl, it's very simple. You have to ban the supply chain that creates it. And that happened. Do you remember a few days ago when Donald Trump was meeting over in Asia and he said, I'd love to meet with President Xi? And President Xi took him up on the offer. That is where fentanyl was destroyed. China blinked first. And here's where it gets really good, my fellow Americans. Last week, Director Patel made a first in a decade trip to Beijing, China. And today he said the People's Republic of China has fully designated and listed all 13 ingredients utilized to make fentanyl. China showed Director Patel the 13 ingredients needed to make fentanyl, and they all come from China. And as of today, the People's Republic of China have agreed to control 7 of those chemical subsidiaries needed for that lethal drug. Let me translate what just happened, my fellow Americans. It's very, very simple. China surrendered today. Not because they wanted to, not because they felt guilty, not because they suddenly grew a conscience. No, because Trump squeezed them until the game was no longer worth the prize. It's called tariffs. It's a beautiful thing. Beijing didn't move 1 inch under Obama. They laughed at Biden, but Trump, when Trump says move, they feel the ground shake beneath their feet. Listen to these numbers, America. I hope you're listening tonight. Your prayers have been answered. Mothers, grieving mothers, you need to send a note to the White House and thank your president for hearing your cry. Listen to these numbers, because the mainstream media tonight is silent. Since Donald Trump took office this year, may I remind you, it's not even been, he took office in January. We're barely in November. We're not even in the first year of this amazing presidency. Oh no, we still have 36 more wonderful months under this presidency. Since he took office, are you ready? 1,900 kilograms of fentanyl have been seized. That is a 31% increase from 24. Now, Director Patel did not sugarcoat it. He said, that is enough. How much is 1,900 kilograms? I'm so glad you asked. Listen, I think I'll tell you. That is enough fentanyl that Donald Trump's departments have collected to kill, are you ready, 127 million Americans. Let me translate that for you, shall I? I believe I shall. That's enough to wipe out every man, woman, boy, and girl in California, Texas, and Florida combined. A synthetic chemical that kills by the milligram. And Donald Trump's administration is ripping it out by the metric ton. Think about what I just told you. It kills by the milligram. Donald Trump's moving it by the metric tons. A generation has been lost until today. 100,000 Americans died last year alone. That's more than Vietnam. That's more than Korea, Iraq, and Afghanistan combined. Did you hear, Professor Toto? And that's twice the amount of lives that were lost in World War I. Fentanyl. And nobody's talking about it tonight. I think Fox News mentioned it. But you see, this war, it wasn't over there. No, this one was on Main Street. This one was in the cars and the bathrooms of America, the bedrooms, the school parking lots, everywhere. And until today, America was losing that war. How did Donald Trump do what no other American president could do? It's simple. He wanted to. Strength. The missing commodity in the manhood of America. Strength. While the press babbles about tariffs, Trump was negotiating the choke point of the deadliest drug in human history. Director Patel said, and I quote unto you, this was only possible due to President Trump's historic engagement with President Z. Obama never did it. Biden never tried. But Trump walked into the lion's den and told President Z, no more American death. Fix it or feel the consequences. And China folded. It was the Trump doctrine in action. Donald Trump went there to get rid of those ingredients. They're banned now. They're banned. If one ingredient's caught anywhere, it's a violation. The cartel's chemistry lab has run out of ingredients, 13 of them. Boom, not allowed on the market, on the world market anymore. 7 chemical subsidiaries shut down by China. China's cooperation is secured. The cartel's production is crippled, and American lives are saved. Now, will there be a black market? Of course. That's life. But there won't be an open market anymore. For the first time in 20 years, fentanyl traffickers are now on defense. We stopped their ability to make their drug. It's like fighting a war and blowing up the enemy's ammunition factory. That's what we did. This is how you win. Wonderful news. Thank you, Donald John Trump. Hello, Kathy Morrison and Linda Hunter, Crystal Hall, Christine Elise, Catherine Medlin, Nancy Brogdon. Good evening. Jackie Dayberry, Beatrice Hutto. Hello, Rhonda Valentine, Susie Nelson. I agree. It should be the lead story tonight. Crystal Hall, Elizabeth Brody, Claire Giroux. I'm not sure. That sounds like one of the Cajun names. Hello, hello, hello. Renee Riedel. Good evening. All right, we're fixing to talk about TRUMPCARE. TRUMPCARE, for those of you that are interested in Donald Trump's health care. Susan Holly, Ann Clifton, Lee Cates, Carol Wood. Good evening to all of you tonight. Thank you, Corey Gatlin, my cousin, my friend, my cousin. We used to ride bicycles together all over Columbia, Mississippi. Angie Swick, Robert McLeod. All right, I want to explain healthcare to you. Everybody needs to listen to me right now. You need to share this. I'm fixing to teach you where healthcare is headed under Donald Trump. All right? Very big. Hello, Kenneth Huff, Tamara Fagg, Susan Pierce. Bless your heart, Susan. My daughter was poisoned by fentanyl. Hello, Sherry McLaren Eanes. Hello, Angie Burge. Yes. Everybody's like, what are you doing on Wednesday? Hello, Margaret Lovinger, because the news was popping today and I couldn't help myself. All right. Let's go to a very important subject. This is really the reason I jumped on tonight. So while the left is trying to manufacture scandals with old dead men, and while Trump was obliterating the fentanyl cartel, he also unveiled on the Laura Ingraham show the other night the most revolutionary healthcare transformation in American history, and nobody's talking about it. That's why you need to thank God for Professor Toto in your life. By the way, if you were subscribed to my blog, my free daily blog, you would already know all of this. You would be the smartest person in America. You would know about the beef industry. You would know about everything because you would have America's professor in your email box every day. Every single day when I put out blogs. Go to Substack right now and look for Professor Toto. Just like that little dog on The Wizard of Oz that pulled the curtain back. That's me, Toto. Professor Toto. Go to Substack and subscribe free of charge today. Thousands of you have already done it. Ladies and gentlemen, President Trump just announced a health care plan. I know you don't know anything about it. That's sad that the media has failed you because Donald Trump just fixed what Obamacare broke. And the establishment, they're terrified. Let's back up I'm going to break it all down for you if you want to take notes so that when you're talking to liberal dummies, you'll know how to respond to their fear tactics, okay? Donald Trump has been working, you didn't realize it, I didn't realize it, on a health care plan since 2016. In his first term, he laid the foundation. And in this term, he's about to put it all together for you. So I want to rewind and let me show you what Donald Trump has already accomplished in the healthcare arena or space. Number one, if you're taking notes, number one, you ought to be taking notes. Number one, uno, price transparency. Price transparency. Did you know that for the first time in history, and you're not going to believe this, hospitals now have to post their real prices? Before Donald Trump, you couldn't even find out what something cost until after you got the bill. I mean, how crazy was this all of our lives? And we never said, got the bill. Oh, I wouldn't have got that done. I wouldn't have got that done if I'd have known. Well, now you have price transparency thanks to Donald Trump, okay? Imagine buying a car without knowing the price. You would feel like a dummy, wouldn't you? That's what healthcare was. Donald Trump ended that scam. Let me give you an example. A few years ago, maybe 2 years ago, I was completely deaf. I had to wear a hearing aid to be able to hear anything. I was completely deaf in both of my ears. And I needed a surgery. There was a chance they could restore hearing in this ear. Well, the problem is, I had a health insurance plan that I believe every American should have. My plan is with Christian Healthcare Ministries. I'm not advertising for them. I get nothing from that. But it's not traditional health insurance. To me, it's the only kind worth having. Anyway, but the downside is I had to pay for my surgery up front. I had to dig in my savings, pay for it up front, but then they would reimburse me 100% after that. Well, I went and the surgery was going to be, listen to this, if I would have had traditional health insurance under Obamacare, that surgery would have been, are you ready, $230,000. Okay? So I go in the little bitty office and sit down with the lady and tell her I don't have insurance. And she pulls out a price list and says, no problem, we can do your surgery for $20,000. Yeah, right. You know why? Had to show me the price up front. Okay? And so that's price transparency. Number two, Donald Trump accomplished that. Number two, cheaper drug prices. Okay? Trump let people buy drugs from Canada. Do you remember that? Where the drugs are much cheaper. Yeah, you could order them from Canada. Donald Trump did that, in case you forgot. He forced companies to show their real prices. He exposed the middleman that was jacking up the prices. Number three, more choices. Donald Trump brought back short-term health plans and catastrophic plans like I've got. I have pretty much a catastrophic plan. Donald Trump brought all that back. Obamacare killed all that. He brought it back. Now you can buy insurance that actually fits your needs instead of what the government says you need. Number four, he brought back telehealth. Donald Trump made it permanent, telehealth. Now you can see a doctor from your couch instead of driving 2 hours to a clinic. Donald Trump did that. And then finally, number five, health savings accounts. Here's what Donald Trump did with health savings accounts. He literally doubled how much you can put in a health savings account. Now, what are health savings accounts? Tax-free accounts that you can put your money in for medical expenses. And if you've got a catastrophic plan like I have, it's okay. You've got the money in a tax-free medical account to help you pay for things up front. And then all of those things that we just mentioned were just the foundation. He did all of that in 2016. But now the revolution begins. Donald Trump dropped a bombshell on the Laura Ingraham show a few nights ago, and people still don't get what he said. Here's what he said, and I quote, "I'm going to give the money directly to the people. I'm going to let them buy their own plans. They'll get better care, and they'll feel like entrepreneurs." That one sentence sent the Democrats on a freak fest. They literally lost their mind. Because if you control your health care money, they lose control over you. So we're going to call it TRUMPCARE 101. And I'm going to explain it to you now, what Donald Trump is fixing to present to the world, to the nation. I'm going to explain it because he really don't explain things too well. That's my job. He throws out the big picture. It's my job to educate you. So healthcare is complicated, okay? But I'm going to make it simple. Let's talk about the phone store. I'm going to give you an analogy. I love analogies, parables. All right, so you walk into a phone store, you need a phone. The government says, go ahead and get the most expensive phone with all kinds of features that you don't need. And you're going to buy that phone from one store. Okay? I know you don't need a satellite connection to Mars, but it's in the package. That's the only phone you're allowed to buy. I know you don't need a diamond encrusted case, but it's mandatory. And you don't want the premium unlimited everything plan. Too bad. That's what you're going to buy. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Obamacare. They forced you to buy a bunch of stuff that you don't need. So what happened? The price exploded. Let's talk about the $100 hamburger. Maybe it'll help you. You go and get a burger. A normal burger costs $6. But the government comes in and says, every burger from here on out must include caviar, truffle oil, and golden flakes. And now the burger is $100. And you say, no, I just wanted a regular burger. You know, a regular health insurance plan. I don't need $15 copays, and I don't need this, and I don't need that. I just need something to cover me if I have a catastrophe. You know, sort of like car insurance. It really is simple if you don't overcomplicate it. And you say, I don't need a burger with caviar, but the government says, hey, you go ahead and get that burger. And by the way, don't you worry about the price. No, I know the burger's $100, but guess what? We're going to give you subsidiary of $80 to help you pay $20 for a $6 burger. Oh, yes, the burger's $100, but don't you worry about it. We're paying $80 of it for you. Sounds great, right? Wrong. The government did not fix the cost. They hid the cost. The burger's still $100. And why is everybody freaking out right now? Because what the government has been hiding under Obamacare is about to be revealed in December when the subsidiaries come to an end. Why do you think Schumer was desperate to extend them? They're all about to be exposed that they didn't fix anything. It's all about to be seen for what it was, a great American scam. And they'll shut the government down to keep that from being revealed. Oh yeah, they want you to think those subsidiaries. Oh, without the subsidiaries, people's premium is going to go from 160 a month up to 400 a month. Of course they are. You made them buy caviar and told them you would help them pay for it. You robbed our money and ran a scam called Obamacare. Trump's about to reveal it all. They don't want you to see the full bill because somebody else is picking up part of your health insurance bill. But who is that somebody else? You are through your taxes. You see, you're paying for your own burger 2 times. Oh, yes. The burger that's $100, we're going to give you $80. Now it's $20. It should have only been $6, but that's okay. It's $20. No big deal. Look at that great burger you're getting. Caviar on it, right? But the part they're not telling you, you're paying taxes out of your hard-earned money. I just sent a check to the IRS 3 days ago. Yeah. So now we're going to take money out of the check you just mailed in, and we're going to use that money to pay for the rest of you. So the truth is you paid $100 for a $6 hamburger because you're going to pay once at the counter, $20. That's all. No, you're not paying $100. You're paying $20 at the counter. You should have only paid $6 to get what you wanted. But when you're forced to get what you're told to get, don't worry about the $100. We got you covered. But the problem is that $80 subsidy, you're paying it through your taxes. Now, here's how it gets even worse, my fellow American. When the government says we'll cover part of the cost, no matter how high it goes, what do you think the insurance companies are going to do? Wait a minute. Think about it. It don't take brains. It just takes a little bit something. Think about it. If the government says we're going to pay your premiums no matter how high they go, what did you just tell the insurance companies? Raise the prices. Why? Because they know the government's going to cover the difference out of the tax money. It's exactly like what happened to college tuition. When the government guaranteed student loans, what did colleges do? They said, oh, students can borrow unlimited money. Great. Let's triple the tuition. Why not? I mean, this is dummy 101 is what this is. Same scam, different industry. Subsidies do not lower cost. They encourage higher cost. That's a quote. You could use it. Subsidies don't lower cost. They encourage higher cost. So let's talk about TRUMPCARE, the genius of it. It's so simple, a kid could understand it. Now, here's what Trump did. Trump said, look, instead of making the burger cost $100 and then giving you $80 to pay for it, let's just make the burger $6 again. You get what you want, not what you're forced to get. How did he do it? He removed all the stupid rules that made the burger $100. Number one, he removed the mandates. That's what was making the burger $100. All those other sick people that you're having to cover, the forced coverages that you must get caviar on your burger. You must get the best plans out there, $10 copays. And the restrictions you can only buy from these 3 companies. And the interstate bans, you can't buy from another state. You got to get in there and buy from the monopoly. When you remove all those rules, guess what companies have to do again? They have to compete. And when companies compete, prices drop. Because if the government's not paying them anymore, you have to pay them. And if you're going to pay them, prices have to come way down. And when prices drop, you don't need subsidies anymore. Obamacare made insurance expensive and then bribed you with subsidies. TRUMPCARE is going to make insurance cheap so you don't need subsidies anymore. One system wants you dependent on government checks. The other one wants you free to choose. Now let's talk about the drug price revolution. Donald Trump didn't stop with all the other things. He tackled drug prices. And this is huge. You know those weight loss drugs that everybody's talking about? Ozempic, Wegovy? In Europe, it's $90 for a month's supply. In America, it's $1,350 for a month's supply. Same drug, same company. Now you know why the CEO fell out and had a heart attack in Donald Trump's office when he announced it. Yeah. 15 times more expensive in America. You know why? The government's going to pay for it. Donald Trump said this is a scam. He ended it. He signed a deal with Pfizer, Eli Lilly, Novo Nordisk, and more, and got a new price that starts in 2026, a few months from now. And regular people without insurance, their injections go from $1,350 a month to $245. And if you get the pills, $149. $1,200 in your pocket, $1,100 in your pocket. Now you can go and pay your health insurance premium. It's really simple. It really is very, very simple. And Medicare, if you're on Medicare, now you only pay $50 a month for weight loss drugs, whereas you had to pay $1,350 a few days ago. Medicaid, you only pay $245 instead of $1,350. See, that's real money. Donald Trump understands real. That's real money back now in people's pocket. Now, you just saved $1,000 a month. Let me ask you something. Now, you buying that fat drug, and you're now saving $1,000 a month on it, but you can't afford a health insurance premium? Oh, yes, you can. You can afford what you want. Mm-hmm. Donald Trump knows that. Remember when the government just shut down for 40 days? The longest shutdown in American history? The Democrats said, we will not reopen unless you do what? You keep the Obamacare scam or subsidies going. Donald Trump said no. They had a staring contest. 8 Democrats blinked first. They're all about to be exposed for the scam they were. The government reopened. Trump won. You've now got TRUMPCARE versus Obamacare side by side. So let me give you the side by side. Are you ready? Obamacare versus TRUMPCARE. Let's go. Obamacare forced you to buy expensive insurance that you didn't want. Premiums went up every year. Fewer doctors to choose from. Government controlled everything. Insurance companies got rich. That was Obamacare. Let's talk about TRUMPCARE. You choose what kind of insurance you want to buy. If you're smart, you'll get the kind I've got. Yeah. You'll put money in a medical savings account tax-free. And do you know that my wife and I pay $300 a month for amazing health care? Christian Healthcare Ministries. Hey, if you go there, I think you need to give them my email or something, and I get a month free. But anyway, so I do get a little something out of it. But I'm not advertising. I'm telling you the truth. We pay $300 and some odd a month. And do you know we have 100% coverage? 100% coverage. No copays of any kind. None. Did you know that after $500, they cover 100% of everything? Now, I have no co-pays. If I go to the doctor, I'm paying. If that visit's $400, I'm paying for it out of my medical savings account. Isn't that wonderful? So now Donald Trump says I ought to be able to buy that. Prices go down because of competition. You get more doctors, more options, more choices. You control your health care. Drug prices get slashed. But what about pre-existing conditions? I'm glad you asked. Because Donald Trump, let me be 100% clear, says sick people will still have coverage under TRUMPCARE. Now, when you go to buy car insurance and you've not been a good driver, you've had 13 wrecks, 22 speeding tickets, what happens to your premium? From bad choices, what happens? Price goes up, doesn't it? That's called fair. What's not fair is my price goes up because yours went up. Okay? Sick people, no one can be denied under TRUMPCARE. No one. No one. No one. Pre-existing conditions stay in place. Protection stays in place. No insurance company will be able to deny you because you're sick. Now, when a person has a health problem before you buy insurance, like diabetes, asthma, cancer, under the old system, you would be denied coverage, not under TRUMPCARE. Trump says they must cover everyone no matter what. To pay for covering sick people, they were forcing you to buy coverage you didn't need to help them do that. Sick people will be covered. When healthy people can buy cheaper plans that fit their needs, insurance companies will compete for their business. What does that mean? Prices will come down for everybody, even sick people. So under TRUMPCARE, sick people are covered. Insurance companies cannot deny you. Insurance company cannot charge you more for being sick. But prices come down because healthy people are not forced to overpay, and sick people can actually afford to use their insurance. So, ladies and gentlemen, the bottom line, in one day, Donald Trump cut drug prices by 80%. He doubled the money you can save tax-free. Gave you back the freedom to choose your insurance. Ended the government monopoly on health care and put you back in control. Obamacare made you a slave to the system. Trump is here to set you free. So let's review what happened today before I go to bed. On one side of the political spectrum, you have Democrats desperately recycling dead criminal emails, cherry picking out of context quotes, hiding exculpatory testimony, and manufacturing scandals because they have nothing else to run on. On the other side, you have President Trump and his administration delivering the complete shutdown of the fentanyl pipeline. China surrenders on chemical exports. The seizure of enough fentanyl to kill 127 million Americans. The most revolutionary healthcare transformation in American history. Drug price reductions that will save families thousands. A system that puts freedom back into your hands. Ladies and gentlemen, that's called contrast. That's what leadership looks like versus desperation. That's what happens when you have a president that trusts the American people versus a political party that fears them. Trump is building the future. Democrats are obsessed with the past. Trump is focused on solutions. Democrats want you dependent. Trump wants you empowered. And that right there is the battle we're witnessing, my fellow American. Not between Republican and Democrat, not between left and right, but between those that believe in American greatness and those that profit from American weakness. Today, three stories tell you everything you need to know about the state of American politics. The left, desperate, dishonest, out of answers. Trump delivering victories, saving lives, and restoring freedom. November the 12th, 2025 will be remembered as the day the poison pipeline was shut down. The American health care was liberated. Democrats showed their desperation, and the day Trump showed his dominance. I'm Professor Toto, reporting to you live from TotoTown, behind the titanium mic of magnanimity, reminding you that truth is still the truth, freedom still matters, and America is still worth fighting for. God bless you, Director Kash Patel. God bless you, President Donald Trump. And God bless the United States of America. We're winning, America. They can't stand it. Until next time, keep your powder dry, your principles strong, and your eyes on the truth. Professor Toto signing out. Good night, America. Bye-bye.